Hi, my name is Kendall Christensen, and I am here working on my network learning project for the class CEP 810 at Michigan State University, which is one of the classes that goes towards the Master's in Educational Technology. So the assignment I was given was to learn some kind of a skill through the use of only technology, YouTube videos, and help forums, to be specific. So we could do anything. You know, people are learning to play instruments, they're learning to sew or knit or make different types of food, etc. And so what I decided I wanted to do, since I'm kind of a crafty person, I like arts and crafts and creating things in general. So I decided I've always wanted to learn how to do calligraphy. I've always thought it looks really cool. And I love the look of it, so I thought it'd be really fun to learn how to do it. So, in order to do this, I needed to go do a little bit of shopping. I went out to my local Michael's craft store and I got a kit, which came with some different things. I'm going to show you what it came with. It came with these 3 different pens, and each of the pens has a detachable tip. They call these tips nibs. Those are the little metal silver things that you guys can see. Oops, I'll turn that on. And the nibs vary in size. We have the broad size, which is the orange one here, and the medium, and then the fine tip. And so what I'll be using today primarily is the medium tip nib. I read that it was best to start practicing with medium, and then you could move on to either the fine or the broad tips. So I'll be practicing with this one today. Also, the kit came with a variety of inks. Now, traditional fancy calligraphy is done with a little jar of ink and you dip it in, and honest to goodness, I really don't know how it's done, but I know you use jars of ink. And maybe you pour it in, I'm not really sure. Anyhow, so what I did is in this kit, it just seemed a lot easier because it came with a whole variety of these little ink tubes. They're all different colors, as you can see there. Red, yellow, blue, purple, green, there's black and brown and all sorts of different colors. So these are really simple. You take out the little tip. This tip is detachable here. So see, I've separated them. And then you just stick the ink in, and just like that you have your pen put together, your ink. You might have to shake it a few times, or they suggest that you store these facing down so that the ink will easily flow and it doesn't fall back, and then you have to wait a long time for the ink to get back down to the tip. So they say to store them facing down. I just kind of store them however, but and then I just kind of pound when I have to write. That works. Also, the kit came with a pad of paper, just a small pad, and I've been practicing a little bit on it so you can see, but it was just a small little pad of paper, so there wasn't a lot of paper on it, so I figured that I wanted to do a little bit more practicing, and so I went ahead and purchased a whole parchment paper pad, which has a variety of colors. The kit also came with this instruction manual, which is against the rules of this assignment, so I've looked at it, but I haven't been practicing with it. I know that my whole goal is to learn from the internet. So there's that. We'll put that aside for a while. Anyhow, so I found some different videos on YouTube that are great resources for beginners, and I'm still, on the hunt for more. One of the videos that I found on YouTube, which is a great one, is by Video Jug Arts Crafts. That's the user's name. And it's a great one in that it starts with the basics, with the materials that you need. It suggests all the different things that you need to have. You need to have a pencil. You need to, of course, have your pens. They show the traditional calligraphy pens, with the jars of ink. I'm just going to be using these. You also need to have a ruler, which I don't have a ruler at my house anywhere. So I'm using this as my flat edge just to help measure lines. When I was practicing before, I just kind of am like a little bit too much of a go-getter as far as I'll just start doing things without reading the instructions or following the directions. And so what I did yesterday was I started making these lines because you have to have your paper all measured out with lines. Well, I didn't realize there was any rhyme or reason to the lines. I just started tracing lines. That looks good. Okay, I'll do it. Sounds good. And then as I got further into the video, I realized they were supposed to be a certain width apart for this reason. Each line is used for a specific purpose, and its size is very important. The distance between the lines is what I'm referring to when I say size. So we have the bottom line. You need 4 lines when it comes to calligraphy. A descender line, which is this bottom one, the base, the waist, and then the ascender line. And you can see what those are used for. Letters like a lowercase a, just go between the base and the waist. Lowercase g, you have the top part between the base and the waist, but then the bottom, the tail, goes down to the descender line. Letters like F that are taller, lowercase, lots of all capital L's for the most, or capital letters, I'm sorry, for the most part, use the ascender line at the top. So it's a little bit like the kindergarten paper that we had to learn how to write with. But it turned out there actually was a need to measure those out and space them out accordingly. So what they'll have you do to figure out how far apart you want your lines is measure, well, depending on the size you want your text, but typically they say script should be about 5 nib widths apart. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to do 5 nib widths, like a stair step. And if you can, oh, I just got some ink on my fingers. Yuck. Anyway, ew. Another thing I saw in one of the videos is that you should just plan to have permanently dirty hands if you're a calligraphist, so that's good to know. So you can see, and I did it up here, that's from practicing yesterday when I first tried to make this video, but I failed miserably. I did 5 stair-stepping widths of my nib. So that's how far apart you want to space your lines when you're doing the traditional script, is what they told me in the video. So that was good to know, because I didn't do that. I just randomly drew lines the first time. And this was my mess-up paper, so it's good for demonstrating what not to do. Then, a traditional humanist minuscule script from the Italian Renaissance era is what the calligraphist in the video showed. And it looked like a little like this. This is my good paper. See how the lines are actually measured out? Yay. Okay. So the traditional look is something like this. It's not the prettiest. It doesn't do justice to what it should look like, but I'm getting there. It's practice. This is that same calligraphy script with a serif added. And the serif, see those little lines at the tips of the different letters? That's what's called a serif. And you'll see that in fonts on the computer and everything. And so that's not really anything super new, but if you didn't know, those are called serifs. So that's what I learned from the video yesterday. I learned I need to space out my lines and have a little patience and not just jump into things. And I also learned to do this humanist minuscule Italian Renaissance era script. Now I don't know, he didn't show me how to do all the rest of the letters. I'm getting the A, M, D, and G down, but I don't really know the rest of the alphabet just yet. We'll get there. So this is a little bit of a start to the calligraphy. I hope you enjoyed and maybe learned a little bit. Maybe you'll want to start some calligraphy. I think next I want to start practicing with colorful pens, the colorful inks, because that looks like fun to me. So anyway, a little intro for my first stab at calligraphy for this NLP, this network learning project for my CEP class, and I'm really excited to continue learning about it. It's so far so good. It's pretty fun. All right. See you.